What's up, everyone? I just got back an hour ago from seeing Brick Mansion. I said I'd do a review on it. I want to start off by saying I was going walking into this movie thinking it was going to be the same old generic action movie as always, but I was happy to report I was pleasantly surprised. I want to start off by saying that the action in this movie was insane. There was a character in it called Leo. I'm not sure what the actor's name is. He was the main character in this movie alongside Paul Walker. And the scenes he was in, first of all, the action in this movie is insane. It is crazy. If you are a fan of parkour, you have to check this movie out. Because the character named Leo, this guy started, the first scene is him, and he's doing all this awesome shit. Running up and down across walls, blasting through windows, jumping across rooftops. I mean, it's some insane parkour shit. This guy was awesome. Seriously, I cannot recommend highly enough. If you like parkour, go see this movie. There are some awesome segments in it. Now, starting off, the story in this was pretty. It was a standard story, but the way they went through it was interesting, especially the ending. There was a couple of parts I wasn't expecting. It wasn't like a major twist, but it was interesting. I want to start off by saying I've said that like 3 times now. It's going really well so far. Continue on. The premise is that there's this sector called Brick Mansion in the city, and it's filled with like degenerates there, and it's run by a drug lord called Jeremiah, who's played by RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan rap group. And to be honest, he does a pretty good job of playing this drug lord. And the premise is that Brick Mansion has a bunch of walls blocking it from the rest of the city, from normal civilization. And inside Brick Mansion, it's like the ghetto. It's literally just the most stereotypical ghetto, but it's just horrible. You would not want to go in there. They have military guarding the exit and entrance to Brick Mansion. And I just have to say, RZA surprised me a lot in this. I was expecting, well, this guy's just going to be in and out. It's just going to be an okay performance just because he's got a name. But he did a pretty good job. And the scenes he was in, he was believable. And after you witness the awesome parkour section at the start, we move on to Paul Walker. And he is, of course, as always, a detective. And he is trying to take down Jeremiah. And in the process, he joins up with Leo through the movie. And these two are awesome together. It felt a lot like Fast and Furious. This movie had a lot of moments. Which I like. There was this one reference where Jeremiah says, "We ride or we die." I couldn't help but have a little smile on my face when I heard that classic Fast and Furious reference. And when Paul Walker, I don't even know what his character's name is. I just call him Paul Walker because he is literally identical to the Fast and Furious character. Again, not just the parkour, but the driving in this movie was also awesome. There was a lot of great driving segments as well as the parkour. And the acting wasn't too bad, honestly. Most of the actors did a pretty good job. And as the main point of the movie is when you get into it, Jeremiah gets his hand on this bomb. But when he opens it, it starts a countdown. So naturally, Paul Walker is sent in there to the sound of this bomb before it blows up Brick Mansion and possibly some of the city with it. And that's pretty much how Leo and Paul Walker join together. And as the movie continues, the action just got better and better. There was one scene that I still found hilarious, still now an hour later. And that is when Paul Walker takes on 3 to 5 guys single-handedly with a steering wheel handcuffed to his arm. I mean, you can't get better than that, honestly. And as the movie continues, it gets towards the end. And it's the ending that I really liked. In the last 15 minutes, shit's going down. When it turns out, when you get to Jeremiah wants him to pay for the bomb. But then a lot of controversy happens. And eventually, it leads to Jeremiah, Leo's girlfriend, well, ex in the ex, and Paul Walker up on the rooftop. And along with Leo, of course. And the bomb is literally like 6 minutes from going down. But when they get the code, but the thing is, the code is the zip code. The code that's on the bomb is the zip code of Brick Mansion. And that causes suspicion with Leo. But Paul Walker is just like, it's a coincidence because he's a cop. He by law with the government. But the thing is, the son goes suspicious about it. And Leo is like, no, there's something up here. Do not trust him. And if we found out Jeremiah saying that he wasn't the one responsible for killing Paul Walker's father, so more questions raised, and it goes down to a fight between Leo and Paul Walker, which is awesome. And I was very interested to see that, because I was like, the good guys are actually fighting each other towards the end where there's a bomb about to go off. But the thing was, it was still awesome, so you didn't really care. And it was just, I wasn't expecting it, to be honest. But then we move on, and eventually the bomb goes off. But well, the countdown ends, but nothing happens. And that's when we find out that Jeremiah saw Paul Walker's dad get killed through a surveillance camera by one of his own men. Like, Paul Walker's dad was a cop, and he was infiltrating Brick Mansion for a drug raid. And one of his own men backstabbed him and shot him in the back. So then we move on to prior to the weirdest scene. Paul Walker, Leo, and RZA, along with all Jeremiah's men, infiltrate the government building where the mayor who sent them to Brick Mansion in the first place is, and they just tear the place up. They just ram right through it. And Leo and Paul Walker get to the mayor's office, along with Jeremiah and his men. And this is where things get interesting, because you know the mayor is behind this, but Paul Walker is threatening to type in the last digit. He said, after all, isn't this how you disarm it, mayor? I mean, you told us this is how it disarms. And then he admits that he was behind it, and it was a really interesting moment. And then after the mayor is exposed, this is where the really interesting thing comes into place. Because then, this is where things just got weird. But it was interesting but weird. I mean, it cuts forward a couple of days or weeks maybe, and we see Paul Walker driving in his car, which is grand. We see Leo and his girlfriend, again, grand, acting normal. Leo's teaching a bunch of kids how to do parkour, which is really, of course, it's fitting. But then we see Jeremiah's on a poster saying, "Vote for mayor." And I was like, really? The drug lord, the main villain in this movie, is now running for mayor. A drug lord, mind you. The head of a drug organisation. And he's killed a lot of people, especially in this movie. He killed a few people. And he's running for mayor? Again, I have no problem with it. It's just interesting. I mean, let's run through the interesting things about this movie. The good guys fight each other. The bad guys become the good guys. And the main head bad guy, a drug lord, is now running for mayor. I mean, what can you say to that? Overall, the movie is really good. It isn't the best action movie, but it's a lot better than I was expecting. I recommend you go see it. It has good action, decent story, good characters. Again, awesome action. I just have to emphasize that, especially the parkour segments. So I'd recommend you go see it. And before I come to the end of this review, I just want to say, with Paul Walker's death, there was a nice moment at the end, before the credits, in love and memory of Paul Walker. And Paul Walker was one of my favourite actors. He genuinely, I know everyone says like this favourite actor, especially when they die, but he genuinely was. I watched Fast and Furious from the beginning, and this is when I was young. I mean, I was fairly young. Like, I'm 22 now, so I was young when this started. Well, not like super young, but you know what I mean. And he was. I really like Paul Walker. I like the acting. I like the character, and I've heard that he was a down to earth guy, and it was a shame when it was actually a terrible shame when he died. I mean, it always happens. It's so annoying. Like, being serious for a moment. Sadly, you can't do anything about it. And he was a really good actor, and I enjoyed every movie he was in. And it's just a shame he's gone. I just want to say, Paul Walker, thank you for the movies you starred in, and I hope you're in a better place. I believe that's all I want to say. So I recommend you go see Brick Mansion. It's the last, I think it's the last movie Paul Walker is going to be starred in. So if you're a fan, go see it, because it really is a good movie, especially if it's Paul Walker's last, which it most likely is. So thank you for watching, and if you were entertained with video or found it decent, like, comment and subscribe. Thank you, and see you next time.